Okay, so the gist is, did I even tell you yesterday that she heavily recommended antipsychotics? Because she was very confident I had bipolar disorder. Did I mention that?
You said something about the bipolar disorder, but not that she recommended antipsychotic medication.
Yeah,
You psycho.
yeah, you betcha. It was my fault. I framed it as bipolar from the very beginning. Like literally the first couple words I said, for in the first couple sentences I said, from an objective or from outside. I think I said outside. From an outside perspective, you can from an outside perspective, these would look exactly like manic episodes. Was like one of my first sentences, and from there, she didn't really go outside of
I,
that.
I could see where she
Uh,
could go from that.
yeah, but I mean, I just felt like that is what it looks like from the outside. But the reason I told you that is so that now you can delve into and figure out whether it is. And she was like, oh no, no, it is. Um, yeah. So that is interesting.
And what
That
were you
begs the
saying
question.
was manic? Like just one of your framework moments, or what were you talking about?
Well, yeah, just I was saying like I was explaining that my manic episodes correlate directly to the amount of time that I get to study. I wasn't using the word framework because it just seemed too complicated, but I was like it is directly proportional. My manic highs are directly proportional to the amount of time that I get on the bike and or meditating, being able to think about my thoughts. And whenever you see the lows, the extreme lows, you can clearly track those to an inability to either ride the bike or have long durations to think or uh, uh, bad media, bad music, bad like I'm saying like
And
you
did,
can
did you describe
directly.
manic as in like it was a positive experience, like there was pleasure in it, or did you just say manic as in like it was crazy?
No, I went very in depth about how it is specifically. She had some psychological words. It was crazy. Even like her psychological terms were just like the worst version of the spiritual terms. They weren't even like it wasn't even like she said like she told me a bunch of psychological words and every I didn't there wasn't a single time where I thought, oh, I should add that to my vocabulary. That's good. I've never thought of or heard that idea before. They were all just like shitty knockoff versions of the religious terms. But anyways, so she talked about like she has some gay psychological word for the feeling of being interconnected.
Oh, is that
Um,
so? What was that?
it was like cessation or something. I don't even think that's what it was. It was some word like that, sounded like that, where it was basically just saying like the feeling of interconnectedness. And she was saying that like um one thing that was interesting was she thought my religious seizures were an ADHD tick. She actually didn't think that was the bipolar disorder. That's weird. Um,
An ADHD tick?
and yeah, tick like the same way the autistic people have ticks. Apparently, ADHD people can also have them. Um, Typically as physical stimuli. And she said that um, both the ataraxy and the religious seizures could both be. She had a word for the ataraxy. It was a word which meant like physical sensation, which is not real. So like she this was the only interesting thing. This is the only time she said something, and I legitimately feel like I learned anything that the entire appointment. She said that the feeling of ataraxy falls in the same category as the feeling, the physical sensation you can get if you're afraid of spiders and like
Oh,
you like feel them crawling on you. And that was fascinating because in that moment I understood that yeah, I do remember when I used to be afraid of spiders, I would get the feeling of needing to brush myself off. It wasn't like I
yeah.
felt spiders crawling on me, but it was the feeling of immediately, even though I could intellectually understand there were no spiders on me, the thing of need to brush off my hair and brush off my body and take off my shirt and examine myself with spiders, like a physical sensation of like needing to escape and examine.
Does she say like
Um,
what do other ADHD people like? What do they need to get ataraxy? Is it just random, or is it also related to religious moments?
um, no, she just said it was basically probably just like my. She said it was basically just probably me getting overwhelmed with dopamine. It's
Interesting.
something like that. She didn't say it had to be dopamine, but she was basically saying that because ADHD is related to dopamine, and like you can get like physical tics from ADHD. What I'm assuming is happening is that because of your ADHD, you're getting an overload of something, maybe dopamine, which is triggering a physical response.
And did you
And then
describe
she had
where it's like it feels like you're breaking out of your body, and so that would create like movements, and that's what she was calling a tick?
yeah, that's what she was calling a physical tic. Yeah. Um,
So
which
I guess
isn't terrible.
I got that concept. I didn't know. Would do people who experience ticks, are they also experiencing that physical sensation that's causing that tick, or is it just the tick in itself?
well, it's entirely dependent. Like I'm sure, like for what I got from that was that some people, but like they're the autistic people who they need to like twitch. You know what I mean? They got to look retarded for a couple seconds.
Yeah.
Um, and from social anxiety, and then like I'm assuming they're gonna be ADHD people. She's like finger tapping could even be like an unconstrainable physical response to emotions, like literally uncontrollable if you have like ADHD. So she was saying basically like in the same way you might not be able to stop tapping your fingers or moving your leg up and down, right? She said it would be the same thing except mine is my bones trying to escape my skin.
Yeah.
Um, and seizing for 3 to 5 seconds, along with feeling um complete and total oneness. Um, so something that's super interesting is like I may have just figured everything out the day like right before the appointment, as far as um I was just really thinking. I was just like obviously I was like I only knew 5 hours before the appointment that I had an appointment. So I was just like, holy shit, I've got a boss fight. You know what I mean? Dude, I was literally fucking Makachev versus Volk. I had a 5 hour fucking short notice and head kick KO'd my opponent. Um, it was so I like I said, I had 5 hours before, and I was just going over everything, and it was the first time that I've had where I wasn't thinking about school since I thought of the Aperion Beam Code Demon. Because like I was saying, whenever you were in, I haven't thought about this. This is brand new. I literally thought about it and then went to sleep, and now you guys were in. I haven't anymore
Yeah.
even think about it. And then as soon as you guys left, I had school. I could only think about school, and even the months where I wasn't doing school, I was consumed with the idea that I was about to do school. So I just couldn't. So there were like 4 days there where I just couldn't think about it, and then that turned into its own thing where it's like great now whenever you should be thinking about progressing in the future, now you're just thinking about the fact that you're on a dip, which is going to lead you farther into the dip, and basically what, as according to my psychologist, another manic low, right? But like what I kept trying to explain to her is it's like, yeah, but I understand that you're saying it's a manic high and a manic low, and I understand that you're saying that like people come to you because their manic lows get worse and worse. But what I'm telling you is that my manic lows would completely go away if I just had Kaczynski. Like that is weird, right? That's not like typical. Like the bipolar episodes should be like Kanye's, where they're like random, swinging, and destructive to my life. They're not. It's just whenever I whenever I understand why things are horrific and that I'm wasting my life, then I feel worse than most people do. Yes, but that's not a bad thing. If you took that away, I would just be a retard. I would just be one of these slop eating
And
fuckmans
even
who
still,
wastes
it's not
life.
like you're not in control of your emotions. You don't have like an emotional outrage like I would imagine like Kanye does.
Well, yeah, but yeah, it's not even an outrage. It's just like I was saying, just like delusions. It's like you like I have no breaks with reality. I have no um like no, I don't there's no negative side effect other than maybe that I just feel worse than other people do when they would feel bad. And even that I think is a benefit. I think it's good that I feel ridiculously uncomfortable in situations other people feel fine, because that uncomfortableness has led me to grow in ways that other people would have just accepted. I like literally I think it comes down to that degree of torture is, and now this is gonna be the most insane self-fix suck ever. But I, like always, will go with extremes for the analogy. I think that that type of mindset is the type of thing which would lead someone to not stone gay people to death, right? Like, um, if you were horrifically uncomfortable with not being able to explain something to yourself, then you're going to examine that, and then you are much more likely to come to the conclusion that that thing is incorrect than someone who goes unexamined and just accepts the cultural beliefs of whatever time period they're within. I 100% stand by that. So I'm not. I don't even view the manic lows as a downside. I view them as a logical byproduct of my life. And the manic highs are, if you cut them off, I'll fucking kill you, which obviously I didn't say, but yeah, if you cut the art out, if you cut the times where I actually feel good out, then I will kill myself more likely.
Yeah.
There'll be no reason to live. I'll just become a fucking miserable normie.
If there is no high and there's only just the low and the low becomes the norm, then yep, that's not it for me.
Well, that's not what she was saying. I will still man her. She was saying that what she was saying needs to happen is that you need to cut off the lows and then cut off the tippy top of the highs and have a more of a middle throughout most of the time. And I'm just like, that is what leads to being our parents. You know what I mean? It's just that's what leads to just like hitting a brick wall and never going anywhere. It's just like that accepting that just like middle that never goes away, that you can just accept fucking mining rocks all day for some retard who doesn't even need rocks. That's not a good thing to have. I
Yeah.
don't want to be caught in the middle. I don't want to just accept everything. I don't. That's not a good thing.
But
And
there's one
also,
thing.
like,
Oh, go ahead.
good. I was just gonna say, and then also, if you get the highs cut off on top of that, now not only are you stuck as a normie, but you're stuck as a normie. You can't even fucking reach the peaks that you used to. So good.
But so when I was at your guys' house, your mother gave me some slime to take home, and it's called thinking putty, and it's just like this giant glob of non-sticky, non-smelly slime. And as far as like a stress ball, it's like literally like a stress ball on steroids. It's like a stress ball is too stressful, and it like I don't know how to describe it other than it feels like it gives you metaphysical insights while doing it because you get to see how one substance changes over time and how you're manipulating it. But also, it's like just the perfect thing to do with your hands at any given moment, whether you're watching a video or doing school, because it's like got an infinite amount of possibilities to actually manipulate it. Whereas unlike other,
Dude, I should show you what I started doing with those hairbands.
yeah,
I was doing it the entire therapy appointment. I look like um, I seriously, I look like a movie villain or something. I've gotten really good at it to the point where it looks like pretty impressive, and it just feels really good. Like what you're saying, where it's like the goal is you just don't get the hairband tangled, and then you move it from finger to finger, hand to hand, as much as possible. So in other words, like, yeah, I don't actually think about it like this, but if you were to intellectualize it, it would be like you get more points for the amount of fingers you jump, and then you get like an extra +2 if you're jumping a hand. So basically, what happens is I'll be moving as fast as possible, and then my goal will be to take a loop that's wrapped around my index finger, and then jump that to my right hand all the way onto my pinky. So I'll have to be doing like these weird slingshot motions where I'm building momentum at one point in the hairband, specifically to shoot the other part of the hairband off into a finger, catch it, and then set up another slingshot, and it looks really cool,
but
and
as
it
in, like it'll
feels
be
like
midair for a second.
well, it's like in other words, like it's always midair, right? And then you're like it won't be completely. In other words, it'll always be connected to one part. It'll always be connected to at least one finger. But then you'll like slingshot using two fingers, which will throw the band in a direction, and then you'll be holding that with one finger, and then you'll catch it on the other hand, and then you'll catch it on a specific set of fingers. Like you know where you're launching it. You're gauging your momentum, and you're holding it with one hand, and then you're shooting that momentum off onto other fingers on the other hand to create new loops, which create new momentum points. And honestly, you know what it feels like to us? It feels like wrestling, where it's like it's not about like focusing. You're not thinking index finger to pinky. You're just flowing, and you have to just like always do the biggest, best movements, but you can't be thinking about what the next movement is. You just have to continually use the momentum to continue, quote unquote, scoring. Like I said, I don't even think about it scoring. I just think about it as like what feels and looks the most fun. And that is always just the largest motion. And then I just think, okay, do large motions fast, and that's it.
Reminds me of like
And then you,
a Mario game.
yeah, it is. Yeah, it's like one of those fucking Game Boy games where you're just like a snake going up and down, collecting little points. It's super, super simple. But so anyway, um, but that begs the question. So does that mean me and you are both bipolar? Does that mean that
Well,
bipolar
she was
people?
saying like just because you have different moments where yeah, sometimes I'm one way, sometimes I'm another, but it feels like any like a large percentage of the population could also say that, and you'd be like, yeah, you might have that.
Yeah. Um,
Like
I
I'll have to
definitely
look more into it.
feel.
I don't actually know actually the specifics of it, but like just the action of having it like not a consistent mood.
I'm
Is that
I'm I'm gonna
enough?
be honest. I'm gonna be honest. I really would. I would not be surprised at all if I am bipolar, even slightly. I've always thought that. Not always, but for years I have. Kanye was is a pretty good example of like someone who has bipolar and his art depends on it. Where like you can see that it does destroy his life even more than it does mine. Significantly more, where he actually does get delusions and stuff. And but his art is a byproduct of that. And whenever they put him on meds, it ruins his life
Yeah, I guess
because he.
his entire existence kind of threw me off for what bipolar was. I guess like I'm not that crazy, so I probably don't have it. But I guess if it can be more mild, then I guess like it would make more sense.
Yeah, yeah, that's what she was saying basically is I just have a mild form of it. But and then now the question is, okay, wait, so then am I the only one with bipolar and you don't have it, which is what I call your jellyfish framework? But then, can I transfer my bipolar highs to non-bipolar people? And if so, is that not like some bizarre superpower to be able to like isolate aspects of manic highs and then transfer those to people who don't have it? Or do we both have it? Do we have a genetic link on my father's side to some bipolar disorder, and now
Like,
are these ideas only
I believe
transferable?
my mother has that.
Well, that would make sense. Well, yeah, that I mean that does make sense. I'm pretty sure my mother has it on her side of the family. I'm pretty sure my Mama Debbie's sister has bipolar disorder, and then if we also have it on my father's side of the family, then um that would be interesting for sure.
And was she
Um,
saying the only way to solve it was through medication? There was nothing else you could do?
well, basically what she said was the only way I'm ever going to get through college is with medication, because she was saying like, I mean, like I said, she verbatim, word for word, she said, societally, I agree with you. It's jumping through a bunch of arbitrary hoops. I'm telling you, that's not a single word that I changed. That's not my own word. I'm telling you verbatim, word for word. Those are the words that came out of her mouth about her education. Um, and I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah,
How does bipolar medication mix in with sub one and two and stuff?
from what I understand, it's going to destroy them. Um,
Yeah.
from what I understand, mine's are already destroyed, right? I don't see how I'm going to integrate sub one in the future. I'm terrified to integrate sub three. How am I going to do that? I could, and she also talked about something which for some reason I did not find much of online. I already knew it, but I knew it like intuitively, not really because anyone really said this. She said that I can have I'm thinking melatonin and serotonin. That's the other one. It's dopamine. Jesus. Dopamine. I can have a dopamine overdose from mixing LSD. She said, and by LSD, do you mean acid? And I said, yes, lysergic acid diethylamide. She laughed and said, no one's ever done that before. Um,
You
but
studied hard.
anyways, she said, oh yeah, she said I speak. Um, she used both the words infectiously and hypnotically, which was interesting.
For what?
Um, my speech. She said the way I spoke. Whenever I talked about content creation, she used the words hypnotic and infectious. But so
Oh, that's a good
anyways,
sign.
yeah, it is. But yeah, if the person who's recommending you meds is saying, well, the way you speak is infectious, then
Well, also for a person whose
you
job
gotta
is
know.
to literally listen to people speak, and for her to say that, that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I know it was a good performance. It was one of my best. That's why I sent the voice recording the other day. I was like, it was one of my best performances, sadly, because God, it was just a brutalization. There was no fight back. It was just like, you're right, yeah, you're right. Hey, you got to get the degree. Like it was. I mean, literally, it was like I watched a professional psychiatrist transform into Nana. Like it was sad. And the worst part was seeing that in her face, her understand that she didn't have anything. Like the worst part was watching her buy time, going, oh yeah, no, I mean that's the reason I'm laughing is because that's just so similar to what I was thinking. That's a real pickle. The verbatim. That was one of the things she said after me talking, because you could tell she was trying to buy time to come up with any reason why I was wrong. And then in the end, she was just like, that's a real personal, spiritual thing. I was like, please, just one tangible thing, just one. Just give me any reason why, anything that you can do with a piece of paper that I can't do on my own. And she was just like, that's a real pickle, over and over again, like Robin Williams. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, truly, it was brutal. It was brutal. It was brutal. It was the same conversation I had with Sarah, where like you watch them just go, yeah. Well, how do you feel about that? Well, I'm gonna go get cake, actually. Um, Brutal. That's that, dude. Think about it. That's the second psychologist that I've vanquished in combat.
Oh yeah.
Um, that's a little scary, dude. Winning sucks when games built by retards. um, but yeah. What was I tying that into? Just the concept that I wouldn't be surprised if I have it. I wouldn't be surprised if that's why my art is good. It seems like basically it was interesting. There was a sign in the office of the psychology place, like right above the front desk, which said, um, these people revolutionized our world and I can't remember if the sign said manic or bipolar or both or like it specified a specific kind of mental illness that I know was like the one that I was thinking about having in the lobby before walking in, and that was the one that she said I had because that was the way I framed my whole speech. Um, but I think, like I said, I don't think I used the word bipolar. I think I used the word manic, and then she was like, "Well, you're saying you have large ups and downs. You're saying you have manic, and this is probably bipolar." But anyways, like I said, I don't remember if the sign in the front lobby said manic or bipolar, but I know it said these people revolutionized our world, and they suffered from one of those disorders, and then it just listed like everyone basically of note.
You have Nietzsche
Um,
up there?
I don't think that they were going less for like artists. They were going more for like scientists and like
Yeah.
psychologists, people like that. But yeah, it was like everyone that I ever learned about in school. I mean, obviously we know it's every philosopher, it's every artist. It's down to fucking Nietzsche and Kanye. It's literally everyone. It's like if you have a brain, you're gonna label you retarded. Uh, but yeah, it's What do you want, Gavin? What you doing? Well, you can walk inside now.
Doing nothing. Okay, okay, I'm going. Chill.
Walk by being kicked. Anyways, yeah, yeah. One of the worst parts was that she seemed pretty smart too. She wasn't like she didn't feel like a new psychologist. She felt older. I would guess like somewhere between 30 and 40. Mother was saying she had some detail which I think younger, but I would think 30 and 40. And she just seemed competent. She didn't seem like an airhead. She didn't seem like her life had been on easy street. Like she was rich. She seemed like she had the same issues I had. It wasn't like she just never thought about these things. And that literally, it was basically like, yep, I had the same issues. But I'm not charismatic enough to start a YouTube channel, so I just had to nut up. And then I was like, yeah, but I am. Why shouldn't I just do that? And she was like, that's a real pickle. The whole conversation looped over and over again. But so yeah,
Did she
I don't know.
say that?
It's weird. Did you say what?
Did she say that like specifically she didn't have the talent to do anything else?
No, no, well, obviously she didn't say that. But I mean, that was the gist. It was basically like in other words, she couldn't give me a single reason why she wasn't like. You could tell whenever she talked about it that like she was saying, yeah, I thought the same things. And then whenever I clearly asked the question, or I mean, it was what she was responding to anyways. But then even if I asked for more detail, and I was like, and how'd you get over it? Then she would just be like, yeah, it's a real personal, spiritual thing. And you could just tell her just like she didn't get over it. She understood it was retarded. She wasted 8 years of her life. She knows she wasted 8 years of her life. She agrees that she wasted 8 years of her life, and she did it to get the piece of paper. She's got the job now. You know what I mean? So she succeeded, but that doesn't mean I'm wrong. It just means she's got a job. I could do that job better, do a lot better myself.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean that was basically this whole conversation. I'm like, well, why should I do it? Why did you do it? And she was like, I didn't get the piece of paper. And I'm like, but what can I not do now that I could do with that paper? She was like, that's a real pickle. So yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, Trevor, like literally, this is the way I asked it. I'm telling you, I asked it better than I'm asking it right now because I was relatively sober. I was like locked in, I was really like preparing. Right now, I'm just doing this blanky. But so like then I literally, this is the way I structured the question. I was like, I just wish I could talk to someone in the field of psychedelic therapy who could tell me why they did it, what they can do with the piece of paper that I could not do without the piece of paper, what they learned in their field, what they are capable of doing to change the future that I could not do from an outside perspective. That was the way I worded it, except I worded it in more detail, and I think I added one or two more caveats on the question, and she had nothing. She had nothing at all. She didn't come up with a single thing. She just said, yeah, I think you should really think about those antipsychotics. That's literally actually responded. Uh, uh,
I wonder are there any psychedelic therapists who do it? I know this is the case, but who do so illegally. I bet they don't need any degrees for that.
yeah, there are tons, obviously, yeah. And the thing is, you just can't call yourself a psychologist or therapist. You just have to be like, I'm just, you just have to be like, this is how someone could use psychedelics. This is the PO box you can ship money to for someone to potentially send you mushrooms. All right?
Yeah. I'm just a guy
Which
who's
obviously
casually interested in it.
Yeah. Well, not just that, but not just casually, but you can literally say like, this is what I would recommend to someone who acquired them. As long as you're not like selling them, and as long as you're not like recommending people to do them, and as long as you're not claiming credentials you don't have to like propagate your message, then you're fine. Like there's nothing illegal about saying if I were to use drugs, this is how I would use those drugs. Like literally, like what Sarah was talking about, like that fucking college that put out a course for you to
Yeah.
get your own somewhere else and then do the course. And we can literally put out things like that, and as long as you don't claim to be psychologists, there's no issue with that, obviously.
So, yeah. Would it be you would assume the other person would have access to it on their own, and then you would come to that meeting then, or you to give them that would be illegal?
Well, honestly, based on what like the sacred church or whatever those people are doing, I bet we could find a way to just change the fucking chemicals one thing, or just sell them under a different name, or
We
buy
used to start
approved
our
drugs
own
or what.
church and say,
But
hey, it's for religious reasons, man.
yeah, but I don't even want to get in that territory, because then when we get famous, if we do get famous, then the government's going to be like, well, actually, that was illegal then, and even though we didn't arrest you for it, it is now, and you're fucked. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah, you know
I
that.
would never even want to get in that territory. I would just say get a test kit, get your own shit. That's your job. But after you do that, then this is what I would do. But so yeah, that's just interesting. Like I said, now the question is, do we both have it? Does everyone worth talking to have it, or is it are all of these diagnoses like retarded? Like, are all of them like in other words, could I have gone to an appointment and framed myself as having autism and then gotten an autism diagnosis? Could I have gone in there and framed it however I wanted and then got whatever diagnosis I wanted? It's kind of what it feels like. I got ADHD and bipolar so quickly. And I mean, I framed it in that way. So I mean, I get why they came to the conclusion, but it's like, Jesus, am I just so good at talking that the mental health professionals just believe whatever I say? Or
Was she like officially diagnosing you with that, or would it be like, all right, if we just like speak 3 more times, then I could get a more accurate conclusion?
I don't know how that works. I don't know if they can like fully diagnose you with it or if that's really how it works. But I'm from what I
Someone has
understand, I
to.
mean, if she I don't think that's true necessarily. I don't know. I don't think you get like a yes or no. It's not like a multiple choice question. It's more like, do you exhibit symptoms? And she was saying, you exhibit enough symptoms that I heavily advise you to go on medication. I think that's like as close as you get to a diagnosis without like getting a retard card to put in your wallet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That I'm gonna do more research on what exactly are the symptoms of it, how severe can they be, and how can you tell?
Yeah, and the big question is, it's like, what is different enough in the brain for you to be able to say that this isn't just like the cut off for interesting people? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, who's to say it isn't like everyone who has unique, unorthodox thoughts isn't going to be put into a similar category? Or do we actually exhibit low grade symptoms, or do we exhibit high grade symptoms?
And then
I
also,
can't
the
imagine
negatives of
high
it,
grade.
can they be manipulated through frameworks?
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, it seems like yes. The answer is yes. If I have bipolar disorder, then the answer must be that yes, it is controllable. It is just a superpower. So even then, I don't want to use fucking medicine. I'd just rather go take Kaczynski.
Wait until Kanye hears about this.
That's yeah. Dude, I mean, it's 100% proven that like we would learn so much more by just going with no money to India and just like doing what every other philosopher ever did. Like every single other one did the same thing. Every single other Western philosopher just goes to India for like the first 5 years, and then they learn from the old wise retards, and then they come back with that. Like every single, well, like isn't it like bizarre how many do that? Like I remember hearing about like what's his name? Fucking people like who's the miserable old cunt who believes in non-duality? I want to say Wittgenstein. I know it's not Wittgenstein. I know it's not even close.
Oh,
I like
Schopenhauer.
this guy. Yes, precisely, Schopenhauer. Didn't like even fucking Schopenhauer go to India? Like, isn't it like every
It
single
wasn't that
one
they
of them?
went; it was like they were discovering the ideas of it. Like the books were getting brought to the Western world at that time.
No, I think a lot of them did just go over. Maybe not back on Schopenhauer because he's so old. But I don't know. You have to sail across on a fucking Santa Maria. But like I'm pretty sure a lot of them do. Like even like fucking Alan Watson, like Ram Dass, they have their stories. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I went to India for 5 years and I fed the yogis acid, and this is what I found. And it's like I really feel like you can just look up Indian people who know the nature of God on Google Maps and just go there for 5 years.
Yeah, well, that I think that might be a bit more complicated than it seems because there's so many different sects and different beliefs in there. So to find the exact one would be interesting.
Sounds like it would take about 8 hours on ChatGPT to find a group of Indians who would teach you more than college would.
Yeah.
Probably, no, maybe like 4 hours on ChatGPT. Actually, maybe more like one. If you have super prompt down, you just say match the super prompt. I mean, the Indian sect is supposed to the super prompt, and they just be like, well, I think these 3 are pretty good. And you go, well, list 3 more, and then they get worse. And you go, okay, well, I'll go with number 2. I think that's the closest one. I like the Veda Vedanta, the Buddhist sect that is currently in Nepal. I'll just go ahead and go there. And then you fucking eat their 1 bowl of soup a day. And clean the floors or tend the garden or whatever.
I'm
So
assuming she took it. I guess it's not there.
Anyways, you were saying 15:20, and we've already gone 30, and I wanted to be gone 15:22. So I think we're going to wrap it up. But
you can't take 30 minutes. Sorry, say again.
What?
I'm sorry. Say what you said again. I couldn't hear you.
I was just saying, it's been like 30 minutes. So I think we can go and wrap it up.
All right.
Yeah, do some research on that. I'm also going to do some research on that. I'm thinking at this point maybe doing the next 2 to 4 years of school, and just ChatGPTing all of it and spending no effort and no time. Don't even think about it. Hit a ChatGPT script, throw it in to Grammarly, have Grammarly edit it, and then just throw that in the sandbox every time without even thinking about it. And just making money off college. Literally just doing college as a game to cheat and make money.
Speaking of, are you getting paid for it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that like, but right now I'm paying for it, and then I'm also like trying to like in other words, it's like right now, or like the past couple weeks at least, I was thinking about college as like maybe my future, so I was taking it seriously and like trying to learn and like do assignments correctly and like actually like produce my opinions on the paper and things like that. But I'm saying now, instead for the next 2 to 4 years, not doing that ever again, not ever thinking about putting my thoughts on the newspaper, and instead letting ChatGPT do literally everything and not giving a single fuck if it aligns with the things that I actually think.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you, you mentioned at one point that you were something like because you guys were poor. Are you actually getting paid?
Yes. What do you mean? Yes, of course. I said this months ago. Yes.
Yeah, I'm just still wondering if that's still the case.
Obviously, yes. I mean, it's still the case.
I don't like. I didn't even know if I remember that correctly, whether or not that actually happened.
Oh no, yeah, so how it works is I get $1,600 roughly per semester, just for taking the classes because that's how poor we are.
I really wish I had that.
Yeah, without it, I couldn't do it. If I didn't have that, I wouldn't have been able to do what I have right now, and even now I'm failing a class. To be fair, I've got A's in every single other class. I am.
What class is it?
Writing, because
oh yeah,
she likes to do assignments like read 10 chapters, take notes on this section of this chapter, research the this is verbatim, by the way. Research the what is the word for whenever you have the end of a word? So like you have like conjunctions, like ums represents something. It's like a suffix. Yeah, suffix. List the suffixes of these words. Then read this chapter, answer these 5 questions, read this subsection, answer these 7 with the interview, answer these 2 after the interview, then write a short summary of the last 10 chapters. Like that's one assignment. That's not like a bunch of different, that's not the week's assignment. That's one assignment. And it's just like, I'm going to spend 8 hours of my life doing this, and it's just not it's not justifiable. Like this is going to take too much work that ChatGPT cannot do. I cannot justify spending my brain on this.
You would absolutely love my whole whale of a English teacher. I mean, she got like rid of half of the assignments in our class, just like in the middle of the class, in the middle of the semester, and like gives us so little to do that's like I don't even know how she became a teacher.
That is so base. God, that is so base. Becoming a teacher just to be like, hey, listen, just shut the fuck up. Sit there, close your eyes. You want a lot more. But
well, like she'll like So she's one of the classes where I go in person. She'll speak for like 10 minutes, maybe 20, and the class is over. And it's like, oh, it's just that. Like she reads off a few paragraphs, and it's like that's the end of the day.
Gigabyte. Yeah, it's close to my psychology teacher. If he just was a little quicker, he'd speak a little slow, but he'll still get done 30 minutes early. But yeah, anyways, I'll go ahead and lead you to your slot.
My pig slot.
I've got.
Actually, I'm doing something kind of cool right now. I'm having to research Hindu rituals, and I'm learning about the Hindu ritual of Yana, which is a fire sacrifice.
Yeah. Whenever you assignments like that, it's not terrible. Sadly, that seemed to after fall break become none of my assignments like that. I was thinking one. They really ramped it up, and not like ramped it up as in like made you have to type more, but ramped it up as in like made everything more retarded and unnecessarily complicated. Which is awesome. So basic.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, rest in peace, soldier.
All right, toodaloo.